This is Alex Hormozi. If you haven't heard of Alex or Mosey Nation, I don't know, you're probably like homeschooler, or you're like living under a rock or something. He is blowing up right now. I love this man. I literally tell my mom about him.
Did your guy say that?
You mean Alex Hormozi?
Yeah.
But I want to get down to the bottom of why Alex is succeeding so well in so many different areas of his life. And I think that I'm finally starting to get it. But in order for me to take you through his process, we have to start at the beginning, but not his beginning. I want to take you to the beginning of my search. I want to take you back to 2016. So let me set the scene for you a little bit. This is Bill McDonald. He's a retired executive of an ABC station, former disc jockey from a New York radio station, and he's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. Bill is my uncle. In 2016, he started paying me to clean his apartment once a month after he got diagnosed with cancer. But now, he's cancer-free, and we still get lunch about once a week, and we just talk about life and his former career in the television industry. And one of the things that I've picked up from spending so much time with Uncle Bill is how valuable the information that I can learn from him can be. He teaches me not only about sales and marketing, but also about the power of networking and maintaining close business relationships with business owners and high net worth individuals. Something that I like to call old business. Bill was born in 1940, and so the height of his career was in the 60s and 70s and 80s. If you wanted to succeed in business at that time, you had to understand old business. You needed to master the service mindset. This is where a baker's dozen comes in, where he just slips a 13th donut into the dozen that you paid for just to be nice. And this service mindset didn't just apply to bakeries, it was every industry. You know, people haven't really changed that much throughout the course of human history. And as much as we enjoy experiences, the more virtual the world becomes, the more powerful giving people experiences actually is, because we're desperate for it. It's like written into our DNA. The problem with the service mindset in the 70s and 80s is that as good as it was as a business principle, it was not enough because all of your competitors understood it as well. So it really came down to who you know? Networking was your winning advantage. And if anybody understood it really well, it was Bill McDonald. He could get front row seats, he could get VIP access to any club in town, and he's made his way into countless celebrities' dressing rooms just because he knew a guy. And we see how fun old business can be through shows like Mad Men.
That bottle attracts more people to advertising than any salary you could dream of.
That's why I got in.
Then something crazy happened. In the 1990s and 2000s, the internet just blew up, and business as we knew it looked completely different. We had all of these different platforms and all of these automations and softwares, and it's like we have all of this new technology, and so what do we do but throw away all of the old business things that we know? And everything became data oriented. The problem with data-driven businesses is that they work really, really well for everything except for giving people experiences. Because on paper, you may be getting a better rate of 12 donuts for X amount of dollars, but you're delivering a much better experience when you give them a free donut as well. When we just get rid of old business principles, we're throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Because as Bill says, it's all about people. And when people don't understand this, we ask questions like, why is my startup failing? Why can't I get customers to refer me to their friends? It's fairly simple to get new customers to come into your business. Maybe not easy, but simple. It's not complex. You make cold calls, you do marketing, and you tell everybody about your business. And if you have a good product to sell, you will get new customers. But you won't get returning customers if you don't deliver an experience. But with all of these factors, old business, new tech, trying to invent new business principles to fit new tech, something changes when an unassuming college graduate comes onto the scene. But something's different about this kid, because he's not preaching about a 4-hour work week or automated passive income. He's saying radical ideas like, if you're in business, you should be good at the skill or service that you're providing as a business owner. Or living out this notion of only giving instead of taking, creating offers so good people feel stupid for saying no. The message that he's preaching is just providing an abundance of value and then increasing the level of service that you deliver. He says anybody can sell anything to anybody once. Sounds familiar, right? He walks us through his business journey, and you can see how much he really emphasized getting mentored by successful people. And not just that, but learning from people who have been doing business for a long time. Learning from people who understand old business. He's only 10 years older than me, but he learned all of these old business ideas that nobody has been talking about for like 30 years. He's young enough to not be intimidated by our new technology and the platforms that modern society offers, but he's also humble enough to like shut up and just listen to people more successful than him, even if the things that they're saying seem to be outdated by modern society. He's just taking this information from them. It's like, let me take the truth from this. And rather than throwing it out immediately because society tells me that old business is dead or obsolete, how can I actually learn from this? And so he dives very, very deep on his passion for understanding people and what people are genuinely looking for. And people are looking for an experience. He's just obsessed with giving value and not asking in return. And then you'd be surprised, people just like you. Hormozi has been able to perfectly marry old business principles with new business tech and social media platforms, and as evident by his abundant success, not just in business but in social media as well. He's done a really good job at doing this one thing, instead of trying to invent totally new principles for this new tech. Just take human psychology. Humans have been the same for thousands of years. What worked before still works. It's just not in newspapers, you know? It's like old business is more alive on LinkedIn than almost ever has been. And for the people who understand it, they become very successful on LinkedIn because people are the same that they have been. People didn't change when computers were invented. Now we just have a new ability to reach a huge amount of people, rather than before, you had to work a lot harder to reach a much smaller audience. People like Hormozi are going to succeed because they have an unfair advantage in today's world, because they understand people. They understand business is just about people. So I'd encourage you not to abandon old business principles, but rather look at them from an objective standpoint and say, what worked before? And why did we throw this away? And rather than getting rid of it because it seems outdated, get rid of the parts that actually are outdated, which was just the avenues in which we were using old business principles. So how can we take the old business principles before and apply them to the modern technologies? How can we apply them to our social media platforms? Because I firmly believe when you figure that out, not just when you memorize old business plus new tech, but when it clicks in your brain, that until you understand this relationship, you will never have the unfair advantage that Alex Hormozi has. Although the world we live in is very different from the 1950s, people still love experiences. And the business owners and creators who cater to that need are going to be the ones that pass the test of time. Alex, if you're watching this, here's my LinkedIn. I still have a lot to learn from you. And to everybody else, my content is similarly based on the notion that the economy is meant to serve people, not people to serve the economy. That's a quote from this book that I read. Hey, and if you feel like it, just subscribe as I continue to explore the philosophies behind modern business and our culture.
It's all about people. That's all it is.